What's up, AfterBuzzers? We are about to find out tonight what the Santa Clarita diet consists of. Mina's going to tell you next. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes, I love this song. Such an appropriate song for this show.
I wish I could do the roller dance and the head twerk thing. Twitch.
Yes. What's up, guys? We are here and we are also in live chat. So if you're with us tonight, we're about to talk Santa Clarita Diet, episode 3 and 4.
Yep.
And tonight, we're going to find out a little bit more about what the Santa Clarita Diet is, because it's the name of the show, and we're like, you know, what is this diet? Everybody's dieting. We were just talking about it. But what's the Santa Clarita Diet?
I'll tell you what it is.
So before you tell everybody what it is, please introduce yourself to everybody, to the world out there.
So my name is Mina. You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Mina Makes Magic.
And I'm Jessie Zahner, and you guys can find me all over social media at Athletic. And so let's start out, because we do find out a little more about the Santa Clarita Diet in this episode, and Mina is now an expert on it, so she's going to tell you what it consists of.
So apparently, the gory shakes are made out of blended beets and bananas, which isn't that bad. That actually sounds pretty good. The ground meat is ground up pasta colored in food dye, which is really interesting.
Wow,
that's
crazy.
And apparently they defaulted to gummy bear formula for most of, like, the weird gory stuff that she was eating.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's so weird that you found this out, because there's a scene in this episode where they're sitting down for dinner, and it's a really funny moment because basically they're lying to their daughter about what they did that day, and she's lying to them about what she did that day, and Drew Barrymore is eating like this seriously raw meat. It's so disgusting, but it's just spaghetti. Is what you're telling me?
I guess so. I mean, everything is made out of
crazy.
some sort of gummy bear formula, and I guess the reasoning behind that was that it's gelatinous and translucent, so they can cast it into different food grade molds and easily make a variety of.
Okay, so it's not spaghetti. It's like,
I mean, because you know how she eats different things throughout the episodes. Like some of them
are that.
Some of it is ground pasta. A lot of it is the gummy bear formula that they default to.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Well, that's very interesting. I did not know that. So there you go, guys. Okay, so let's start with episode 3. I think it's such a funny episode because they're deciding that they're going to have regular family dinners because they're worried that they're
Abby.
Yeah, they're basically effing Abby up. So they're like, we need to do these regular family dinners, and they're going to sit down and have that. But in the meantime, just like I mentioned, so much is going on with Abby, and then also with Joel and Sheila. Mm-hmm. They're almost like living separate lives.
Yeah, no, they really are. And I mean, you can see the disconnect between the daughter and the parents, and her just wanting to rebel, miss class. Yeah. I mean, all of it feels pointless to her now because now she's questioning, well, what's the point?
Yeah. So it's funny because Drew Barrymore, her character Sheila, you know, was so conservative, and now she's so far out there because she's a zombie now, and has no impulse control, and she's just going out and doing whatever she wants. But I almost feel like that, like that side of her is almost a little bit like Abby, because I feel like Abby's gotten to that point. She like skips school. She doesn't give a shit about anything. We see her throw like a smoke bomb in her friend's ex-boyfriend's house and walk in with the gas mask on and get her sweater, and she's like a badass.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's like what Drew Barrymore wishes that she could be as a person.
She's like one of the Charlie's Angels, like
she is. Yeah, exactly. Taking after her other
Netflix mom.
Yeah. So it's so funny because what they plan on is they're figuring out who they're going to kill, because Drew Barrymore Sheila, I should say, hasn't ate in 2 days, and she's so hungry. Mm-hmm. So her and Joel have decided, you know, it has to be somebody who's a bad person, somebody who...
They can't be missed.
Yes.
And then they, like, basically eliminate everything.
Yeah.
And they're like, so basically a young single Hitler.
Yes.
Which they think is going to be Abby's, Abby's friend's.
Yes. What's her friend's name?
ex-boyfriend.
Sarah? I think her name's Sarah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so they think that he's the perfect guy because
Kid Weed. I saw his Instagram.
Oh my God, I forgot to. Yes, I wanted to put it up there. So you should check it out. Kid period weed underscore. Is that what it is?
I think it's kid.weed.
Kid.weed. And I think there's an underscore under it. Either way, I did check it out because I was just curious.
There are only like 9 photos.
I know, but it's still funny though.
It's still cool to check it out and look at the pictures.
Yeah, so he's like this 26-year-old guy who's dating this girl who's who's like 16 years old. And so they think this is the perfect guy because they hear them come home from school, Eric, Abby, and this, I think her name is Sarah. And they're talking about, he's older and he sells drugs to kids and all this. So Drew Barrymore, Sheila, it's so hard.
I know. I always want to call them by like Timothy Olyphant, Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, Sheila and Joel decide this is the guy that they're going to kill for food. He's the perfect person. So what happens is they get in this house and they put all this like plastic tarps everywhere,
no trace.
And they're wearing ponchos, and he comes to the door and they greet him, and he comes in, and when they're getting ready to, like, Drew Barrymore, Sheila again, is getting ready to eat him, her phone goes off.
Yes.
So she has to take the call because it's about work. And the next part actually kind of reminds me of, have you seen the TV show on HBO, High Maintenance?
I haven't.
It's really funny. Have you heard at all about it?
Mm-mm.
So it was actually a web series before, and then it became an HBO show, but it's about this guy who his name is The Guy or Guy. He doesn't have a name. Like, you don't find out his name, but he's a drug dealer, and it's just kind of tracks his life story as a drug dealer, and he gets into all these situations. And this part reminded me of that show, because what they find out is while Drew Barrymore's out, this Kid Weed and Joel, they sit down together and they start smoking weed, and they like have this conversation.
Completely start bonding.
And Joel is like sharing his whole life with this Kid Weed, and it reminded me so much of High Maintenance, because that is basically what happens. Like, the drug dealer goes into all these houses, and it's like you're having a glimpse of these people's lives, and they confide in you in certain things. So it was really funny. But Joel finds out he's not such a bad kid.
Yeah, I mean, he begins to empathize with him because, like, on the surface, Kid Weed seems like a total D-bag.
Yeah.
But he only actually broke up with Sarah because he found out she was way younger than what she had originally told him.
Exactly.
And he only sells weed because he's helping out his family, right? His sister.
Right, exactly. So he's not that bad of a guy, so they decide,
to let him go.
Yeah.
And they go after someone else later.
Yeah, so Sheila comes back in, and she's like, where did he go? And, Joel says we had to let him go.
I know.
So
that was... I mean, having to hunt your dinner like that on a daily basis, God, takes you back to evolutionary or like caveman days.
I know, it's crazy. I can't imagine like what Joel is going through, and obviously he is going crazy too, because we see another scene later where Joel and Abby are like bonding, because throughout the episodes, Abby's getting in trouble for skipping school. And so it's weird because Sheila is not like her old self. She's like, oh yeah, maybe you shouldn't go to school and,
just become a poet.
Yeah. And it's weird how kids like want
someone to come down on them hard. Like, like a lot of times I feel like when our parents are strict, we're like, ugh, it's so annoying.
Right.
But if we're given too many reins, we're like, you don't care about my well-being.
Yeah.
So I think she wants that. Like, she doesn't want her mom to be a best friend. She wants her mom to be a mom. And she just wants things to feel back to normal, and they don't. Right.
Which I'm like, girl, like, man, your mom's like being so easy on you. Just go with it. But she is questioning, is she still mom? Does she still care about me? Does she still love me? And I guess Joel is kind of questioning the same thing. So they start talking, and you know, about kind of like Joel's situation and what he went through as a child, which is like, okay, I get it. Like everybody goes through hard times as a kid, but like, was your mom a zombie though? Like, cause I don't think so. And I can't imagine what that would be like. Cause at night, like, do you lock your door like in fear that your mom's going to come like eat you? Like seriously, she's no impulse control. So why would she not eat you? Why would she?
There has to be like an evolutionary reason why zombies don't go after their families.
Oh my gosh, is there? If somebody knows that, please tell us.
Or I wonder if she'll bite or like infect one of them. And
did we talk about that last episode?
Zombies. I think we were guessing about that.
Yeah, we definitely. You know, I'm curious to see if that will happen.
It might.
Yeah.
Possible.
So, you know, he tells her all these stories, and she's saying, you know, like, what did you do to get through these hard times? And next thing we know, we see them on a motorcycle, like rolling up like the hills, like super fast. Was it Rick, their next door neighbor's motorcycle that they were riding?
I didn't even pick up on that.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I don't know, but I was like, how did they get his motorcycle? Did he just like lend it to them or what? But I don't know if that was his or not, but that's what I assumed it was. So I like to see that bonding moment between Abby and Joel, because I just thought it was like, what do you do when your wife or mom's a zombie?
We never really see that a lot, so.
Yeah, so one big event that also happened these episodes is that they decided that they needed to get a freezer, because I thought this was also so funny, because, you know, they didn't want to waste the bodies. Like Drew Barrymore wasted 150 pounds of guy, and she's like, you know, like, oh, you know, we recycle and compost and do this, and I just wasted a whole human body, so I'm not going to do that anymore. So we need to buy
prepping. Yeah, that's what you do with diets. You have to meal prep. You have to get all the right ingredients.
And just like you said, like if this goes back to the days where like we like, you know, literally like shot and like killed our food, you wouldn't just waste that whole cow or whatever it is.
I don't think they had guns back then.
Knives, whatever. Oh shit! I'm not hunting with. Yeah, I'm definitely a gatherer. I'm not shooting a bow and arrow. But so they decided they need to get a freezer and stuff a body in there so that she can eat it later. Yeah, I thought that was a good idea, because I was thinking the same thing. Like, why did she waste Gary's whole body?
Right.
Is she never going to be hungry again? Is this like a snake where they eat like once every so often?
No, because she's constantly hungry every single day, and her cravings are out of control.
So here's my question. Well, we'll get to that. So what ends up happening is they're driving back from, I believe they're driving back from the house, right? When they were going to get kid weed, and they get in a fender bender, which is like not serious at all. There might have been a scratch on the car.
And they attack him.
Yes. Well, the guy was like totally being a prick too. He's like, that's a $10,000 scratch on my car. It's like, come on, you guys were like driving not fast at all. Yeah. And like, there's nothing on this car.
He's overreacting.
Oh yeah, so overreacting. So yeah.
And that's what he gets. Bad things happen to bad people.
So actually, Mina was doing some research before. Tell them that was the scene, right?
I don't think it's that same scene, but I know that Drew Barrymore did mention that she almost died during filming, because there was a scene where she had to jump on another character's back, and because the actor was too wide, she ended up falling backwards, even though he tried grabbing her legs. Yeah. And she smashed her skull on the concrete. Oh my gosh. So she had to get like a couple MRI scans, and it was really scary apparently for her. Wow.
Okay, so I assumed that it was the scene, but it might actually be a different one.
I might have been from like one of the first episodes, because I remember like she attacked one of the neighbors. I'm not sure if it's from that scene, or if it's from a scene later on that we haven't seen yet.
Wow.
Scene we haven't seen.
Yeah. That's crazy. So, you know, she kills this guy. Another like impulse kill, which is not good. They've already decided like, we need to not do this anymore. We need to. That's why they tarped the whole
what's
place.
What's gonna happen when all these people go missing? That's what I want to know. Like, there's like 2 cops in the neighborhood that they're in. At least like they're surrounded.
Yes. Well, and it's so funny when they go and they ask Rick, like, are there any like bad guys or criminals in the neighborhood? I'm like, this is the stupidest thing in the world. Why would you ever ask
like,
that?
Ooh, pedophiles. Yeah. Yes. In the minute they're like, they have a really close eye, keeping watch on them. They're like, damn it, we gotta go for someone else.
Yeah. So yeah, they kill this guy, and they decide, okay, we didn't touch the car, so there's no fingerprints, there's no marks of us here. Let's just take him, and they stuff him in the freezer, and they just leave his car. And she comes back the next day and makes a shake, and she's walking with her friends and she's drinking the shake. And
yeah. And this is episode 4.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was so funny. It's just like, so disgusting, to be honest. It was just so gross. I couldn't even.
And everyone, like, her friends ask her, why are you, like, so happy all the time? And she's like, lots of protein. Like,
yes.
so nonchalantly.
Yeah, like, she's on, like, a new diet with all this protein. And she starts giving her friends all this advice about, like, oh, the one neighbor wanted to see John Legend 4 times while he was on tour. And she's like, oh, you should definitely do it.
And go get a Range Rover for the good cop neighbor.
Oh, yes. And then her other neighbor,
the blonde girl slept with someone.
Yeah, like, she's alluding to, like, she inspired her to do that. So all of this is happening, and she's giving all this advice because she just has no impulse control at this point. And she's like, just go do whatever you want and be happy. And, you know, and it's causing problems across the whole neighborhood because they get in their car one morning, and the neighbors are fighting. They're coming over and telling things, and Joel's looking at Sheila like, you did this.
But at the same time, she specifically says they're grown-ups, they can make their own decisions, which is totally true. Like, I think it's ridiculous that they'd get mad at her for encouraging, like, them to do something when they're fully capable of being like, no, that's ridiculous, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a good idea.
Yeah. So that was hilarious. I thought it was funny. I love the John Legend part because I do want to see John Legend 4 times while he's on tour.
Yeah. I also like when Timothy Olyphant's character, Joel, goes into the paranormal bookstore.
Oh, yes.
And the lady recommends zombie porn.
Yes.
To him. It probably exists. I feel like
I'm sure it exists.
I feel like everything exists in that realm.
For sure. Yeah.
But it was just very bizarre because then later on he sees, you know, the mural from the Middle Ages.
Yes.
Where the lady is vomiting that small organ that Drew Barrymore had vomited in the first episode. So I guess he's digging and finding out information about.
I love him. He's like
her
my
condition.
he's like my favorite character. He's like so in love with his wife and like will stick through anything with her, and I love that about him because they do go through this moment, like I said before, where they're like, is she still mom? Like, is she still the same person? And he's kind of just like growing along with her, like, you know, I'm here for you and I love you. And so he's even going to the extent of like going to find out more about zombies and this and that.
Yeah.
Just for his wife.
And even Timothy Olyphant, the actor, not the character, mentioned in one of his interviews that the moment, like, he knew that he loved Drew Barrymore was when they were doing, like, the vomit scene.
Yeah.
Because apparently in real life, this goes back to the first episode, the fake vomit smelled so foul and disgusting that a lot of people who were part of the crew had to, like, step out to get fresh air and come back in.
Ew,
but
my God.
Yeah, but Drew Barrymore was such a good sport. She's like, yeah, let's do it. And, like, she, like, covered herself in it, and she was really good about it the whole time. So him seeing her in that element and just being, like, so enthusiastic and dedicated to the role, he's like, that's how, like, when I knew that I loved Drew Barrymore.
That's awesome. That's disgusting. I did not know that story. Like, do you think you could get through that? Because that was like a lot of vomit.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think I put like a little lotion, like really good smelling lotion under my nose.
And or like an orange peel and just put it down there.
That's horrible. That's a funny story though.
I mean, what's the point if it smells that bad to make it fake vomit? Like, you might as well be a method actor.
Right? Yeah.
Do the real thing if it smells that bad.
God, it looked that bad too. So I can't imagine like having to see that and then smell it. And even feel it, like, it was so gross.
Disgusting.
Yeah. So one major part of this episode, aside from, because now that you mentioned he goes to that store and he finds these ancient paintings, he finds out that they're like written like in Serbian. Is that what they're? Or like?
See, I thought it was Latin, and then he said something about them being Serbian, and he's like, we need to find someone who speaks Serbian.
Yes.
And he does later.
Yes.
Almost.
Exactly. So they we see them at school because Abby's been skipping and they get called by the principal's office, who the principal is the guy from Reno 911.
I freaking love him.
He's
so
from
Reno
funny.
911. He's also from 17 Again.
Oh,
Remember that movie with Zac Efron? He's so freaking hysterical.
He's so funny.
I love him.
I know. So I was so happy to see him on this episode.
They have the best cameos out of
they really do.
Every episode. And I feel like they should like leave them in a little longer.
I agree.
You know?
I hope they keep him in.
Yeah. He's a good one.
He is. So he you know, basically tells them, you know, Abby's been skipping, and if she keeps it up, they're going to suspend her.
Yeah, and he keeps or I can't talk right now. He keeps comparing her to Eric, who is a 4.5 GPA young scholar and is like doing all these great things.
Yes.
So that definitely sets Drew Barrymore off, or Sheila off. And she's just like, don't say it again. Don't say that she's going to get suspended.
I love that part.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, we sense the tension building at this point. We know something's going to happen.
Yes. So it's exactly like you said. She's not having it. So she, you know, gets in his face and she's like, don't say it again. And I love Joel so much. He's so great. He's just sitting there. He's like, don't say it. Really, just don't say it.
Yeah.
Because he knows what's about to happen.
He's so non-confrontational.
I know.
Like,
I love him.
Him and Sheila are such different characters.
Yes.
Because she's very much like in your face about things.
Yeah.
And has that sweet exterior.
Yes.
Like just physically, like the way she looks and her facial expressions are very sweet.
Yes.
And then Timothy Olyphant seems a bit more reserved on the surface.
Yes.
And like a little like, he doesn't seem friendly, but then his actions.
Oh my gosh.
He's like always so diplomatic. He doesn't want any trouble. He's so like against any sort of confrontation. Like you can see him cringing in every situation where it gets too aggressive. He's like, okay, calm down, guys. He always wants to play mediator.
I know, and I love that. Like I think it just the dynamic of those two works out so well.
Definitely.
And we see them later at there's some event that's going on at school, and Eric's there with that robot that we saw in episode 2, I believe.
Yeah, for the science fair.
Yes, and you know, they have Sheila and the principal have an interaction there again, and I thought for sure
she was gonna attack him.
Oh yeah,
it was so.
Did you not?
I thought for sure too. I was like, she's gonna hunt him down.
Oh yeah,
and attack him. And just like when she was like talking over him.
Yeah.
Like what's that called when you like dub?
Yes, we were talking about it. It's so funny.
Yeah,
he was like in the distance, and she was.
I've literally done that in real life with my friends.
It's so funny. Yeah,
it's really fun.
It's so fun. Yeah. So she's like talking over him, and just like mimicking what he's saying. I guess it was so funny. But I thought for sure she was gonna eat him.
It felt like it was going that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then she ends up hunting him down. Intimidating him just because he did it to her earlier, right?
Yeah.
What did he tell her earlier? He was just using this power dynamic.
Well, he said he apologized for what had happened earlier, and then she's like, "Oh, well, you know, thanks for apologizing." He's like,
I'm not.
I'm not apologizing. I'm just saying, like, it's sorry it happened,
situation.
but like, it's your fault, basically.
Right. And that's when you see the rage in her eyes. And,
oh yeah.
I love the part where, I'm not gonna bleep this out, but she like corners him and like starts threatening him and says, "I can F up your Zillow estimate." And I was just like,
that was so funny. I'm a realtor.
Yeah, like that's the only power she has as a realtor, but it was really funny.
I never thought about that. Have you ever had like a realtor threaten your life?
Actually, I mean, I feel I
love how you actually have to think about that. You're like,
But like when you get a realtor, like moving into a new place is a huge deal. So
yeah, so they could really F your life up.
A lot of like what they tell you is it's huge, because if they tell you, yeah, this is a safe neighborhood, blah blah blah, and you move in there, and it's like literally murders every block.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
So now my next question is, because I didn't think about it until now, but she tells him that, like, I can F up your Zillow estimate and all this, but he lives with his grandmother.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, what house are they selling?
Yeah, I don't... They're not selling.
But maybe she didn't... Yeah,
she didn't know.
Yeah.
But the fact that he lives with his grandma is funny. But remember, like... So we find out later in the episode when Joel is, like, rummaging through something that he sees... Serbian, and he's like, oh my god, like the principal speaks Serbian, and he chases him down. That's when we find out he lives with his grandma, and then that his grandmother is the one that speaks Serbian. So that whole interaction was hilarious. So
it's so funny because he's like so Drew Barrymore threatens him, he leaves, and they're passing by his office, and they see the little flag, like the Serbian flag, so he sees it, and he's like chases him down, and I love that. He goes out there and he's like, I gotta be home by 8 p.m. because his grandmother's
His
gonna like worry about him.
waiting.
He's the principal of the school, but that's like so his character, like in everything, he's just so funny. So,
Isn't it weird that Serbian is the token language for the zombie spirit? I feel like they always do that with Eastern European languages. They're always like, okay, Romanian is gonna be like that's associated with vampires, and it's always like some
I didn't
Eastern
think about that.
culture, like Eastern European culture that they attribute to these weird like fantasy like.
Well, did they mention something about like zombies like back in the day in this episode? Or maybe that's just what we were talking about last episode.
Like, it was just the murals, I guess, that we were seeing.
Yeah.
The pictures of where they originated from. I really thought it was Latin, but they all, I guess, blend together for me.
Yeah. So if somebody speaks Serbian, please let us know so we can find out what they say. But I'm hoping that we'll find out what they say.
That would be exciting.
Next episode. Yeah. Anything that we forgot before we get into predictions for tonight?
I feel like, yeah.
The only other thing that I wanted to mention is the neighbor. Not Rick, but the neighbor, Eric's stepdad. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has been. I actually love his character. I think he's hilarious too. He's probably my second favorite after Joel, even though I love Sheila, of course. But he's so funny because he keeps coming over and just like prying them for more information and just like throwing things at them.
Spray.
Yeah, and like almost like he knows. He's like, yeah, if you gotta like cover up a dead body, make sure you do this, this, and this. And so then I was like, wait, does he know? And he's like actually gonna be on their side?
He doesn't.
But he has no idea. Yeah.
Or he's speaking in like double meaning, double entendre.
That's what I don't know. So
yeah,
I hope we see more of him. So
I like the part where this is completely random tangent where the blonde lady, his wife, is talking about how pharmaceutical rep hours are really flexible, and that's why a lot of them go on The Bachelor.
Oh my god, that was so funny. I did hear her say that.
Because you realize when you watch The Bachelor, if we have any overlap right now between Bachelor fans and Santa Clarita Diet fans, which I wouldn't be super surprised. We might have some overlap. Like when you watch the show, you do get a lot of random job titles, like either.
So what, if you're a pharmaceutical rep, can you just like leave for like months at a time and be like.
You can go on The Bachelor if you're a pharmaceutical rep.
And they'll give you your job back when you get done?
I think so. I feel like it's usually like the freelance, stuff, people that go on The Bachelor that don't really have a job. Yeah. And they go on.
But I feel like pharmaceutical like sales rep is like a good job, right?
No, it is a good job. Yeah. I think they make, if you're a pharmacist, you make
if you're a pharmacist, you make like
figures.
Oh, for sure,
least.
yeah.
If you're a pharmaceutical rep, that means you're selling. You're going to different doctors'
I feel like you make a lot of money too.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to. It's sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that was so funny.
I like that Bachelor reference. I'm a sucker for anything Bachelor related.
I know. The Bachelor's almost done, right?
Yes. They're doing hometowns.
Oh my god. And Corinne's still on, right?
Yes, she's still on.
Oh, good. I can't wait. So if you're Bachelor fans, check it out. But let's, before we go, get into predictions, because I have some predictions.
Ooh.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so what do you think is going to happen in the coming episodes of Santa Clarita Diet?
I don't know. Like, I'm trying to guess by title, because
episode
2 was We Can't Kill People, and then episode 3, We Can Kill People. All right. What's episode 4? The farting sex tours. Actually, maybe going by titles is like really not a good idea.
I have to say, as an engineer, those are probably like the weirdest
right?
titles for things I've ever seen.
The farting sex tours?
Exactly. When I saw that, and I never really thought of it, but they finally brought it up.
What was
it? Remember when Drew Barrymore or Sheila is doing the whole dubbing thing with the principal?
Yes. Oh my god, that was so.
And then she calls him the sex tourist.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
It was not even.
We need to do a dubbing.
What the episode was about?
Yeah.
They title it that to grab your attention. It's like.
So what's episode 5 and 6 called? Do you know?
I actually don't know. So I don't know where I was going with that actually, but. Yeah, what is episode 5 and 6 going to bring? Maybe, I feel like maybe we'll be introduced to the grandma.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Because that would be really fun. And I want to see more of whatever the guy's name is from Reno 911 and 17 again, because he's hilarious.
Yes.
We can see more of the principal.
That would
be great. And his dynamic with his grandma.
Yes.
would be really fun.
No, I totally agree. That's what I want to see. I'm hoping and I think for next episode we will see more of him and hopefully his grandmother. Who do you think would be good to play his grandmother?
Oh, that is such a good question. Someone to play his grandma.
Yeah.
Betty White, for sure.
Oh my God,
She's
wouldn't
so
that
funny.
be awesome?
Yeah.
You know what? You have me beat because I was going to say the grandmother from Napoleon Dynamite, who is also in Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She's Mac's mom, I believe. But I was thinking her just because there's a tie-in with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because Charlie from It's Always Sunny, his wife is
the
neighbor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's what I was thinking of. But actually,
And
Betty
there
White
also
would be
is
so
another,
funny.
It's Always Sunny reference, because there is an episode in It's Always Sunny where they start eating human flesh. There's an episode dedicated to that. Do you
It's
remember
all
when Dee
tied
does
together.
That?
It's like
Everything is
it's like when
circular.
Elsa isn't like Elsa and like Tarzan like brother and sister or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised because Disney always has weird
I didn't know that.
crossover.
Yeah, they have like some type of crossover with Tarzan and Frozen. Yeah. So
know
maybe it's
that.
like.
But I know with Toy Story for sure, and a lot of Pixar movies, they'll place characters from other Disney movies into
in
those
there.
movies, like just in the background, like an I Spy game.
So maybe that's the case, but I would rather it be Betty White because I actually think that would be really funny.
I love her. I think she's so funny.
So maybe we will see the grandmother next episode, and maybe she'll shed some light on what those paintings say on them.
Probably. Maybe she speaks Serbian.
Yeah. Well, she's supposed to, so hopefully she does. Any other predictions that you have for what else is going to go down next episode?
I'm thinking, I feel like we're just going to see some more cool cameos.
Yeah.
And that's going to be exciting in and of itself. Other than that, I don't know. Obviously, there's probably going to be a stronger connection between Eric and Abby. I don't know if there's like a potential romance there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Maybe
Yeah.
his character starts to shift and doesn't become as, people pleasing, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure.
we'll
And I
see.
want to see more of him because we didn't see a lot of him this episode. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like episode 2, he really was like shining with all the help he
All
was
his
giving.
knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to see more of that too. So I guess we'll have to wait until next week. So we will cover episode 5 and 6 next week. I can't wait to see how that is.
We're already like getting halfway there, right?
I know, it's crazy. So be sure to check us out on YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel, AfterBuzz TV, and comment on our video because we will write back to you guys. And until next time, I'm Jessie Zahner, and you can find me all over social media at Athletic.
And I'm Mina. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Mina Makes Magic.
And we'll see you guys next week. See ya.
See ya.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.